next week he brings up the cookout. So, without saying
I'm just
the 5
sitting
white
here
people need to stick together, he is saying us 5 need to stick together without
this episode.
putting that label
I'm gonna
on
make
it.
a little recap later,
Very
but for
clear
now, I'm
insinuation.
just taking
Like,
a
I don't know
look.
if he ever made any sort of comments like that to you or not.
Never, absolutely
At this
never.
point in time, Michael and
Hearing this
Brittany
about Kyle,
are revealing
I'm
the
confused,
Kyle
I'm
stuff to
extremely
Alyssa.
overwhelmed. Being close to Kyle in this game, I feel like I have a pretty good understanding of where his heart is. So if I'm wrong about this and this is true, then I'm just disappointed.
I don't know, just trying to put myself in their shoes or even turn our shoes. You just deserve to know that those conversations were being had. I don't know.
And I really do appreciate that because that's not something that I would want to be a part of at all. And I want to make that very clear. Like that. That's completely
I
surprising.
saw pieces of this, the parts that they did not cut from the live
about all
feed.
this. It's just something that weighed very heavily on both of us.
Yeah, and I appreciate you guys coming to me. This is definitely a very heavy and delicate conversation. I don't know how to move forward with him.
They're saving all this Kyle stuff for the end of the episode, so I guess we will get part 2 of this saga
There's some information
tomorrow.
that I've had for, about 2 weeks or so that I've been kind of struggling
He
about
first went to Monty and Taylor.
I'm just going to lay it out on the table. Kyle said how I see the alliance broken down is Monty, Joseph, and Taylor.
He first went to Monty and Taylor, then he went to Alyssa, now he's at Turner.
Him and Brittany on, well, those were like the divisions that he saw. I remember thinking, like, the optics of that don't look good. Yes, for sure. I just wanted him to give me something besides the cookout did it last year. That's the worst part of it all, yeah. I definitely am glad you told me that. I don't know what to think right now, but it's crazy. People that they try to get my blood Brittany.
Now, Monty is having a conversation with Terrence. I saw little pieces of this, but again, it was cut a lot from the live feed. There was so much that happened, and there's so little in this episode. I'm just saying.
Hey. Because Kyle had a lot of these conversations with Brittany and I together. That is super uncomfortable. Yeah, I hate that. I told you, this is uncomfortable. So I just wanted to bring this to you because he is putting your name in it. Yeah, that makes me almost emotional. I hate that a lot.
I hate it. It's not good for our games. It's not, but it's just obviously at the end of the day, I would regret too, and I just have these conversations. I didn't do anything about it. That's not. I don't know. It's really questioning the person I want to be in this house.
Hey, can I chat with you? I feel so alone right now. I don't know what's going on.
Now it's Kyle talking to Alyssa. I saw this one on the live feed.
Other people in the house. I'm giving Monty Taylor just a fair shot. I like working with them almost. Because they can possibly afford a cookout thing.
So an erase thing is what they're pitching that I was saying.
Not necessarily saying.
Oh, listen, this is bigger than games. This is more on my mind.
This is the part where Kyle said that he's potentially going to leave. So just as a quick recap, I was mainly watching this episode to see if there was going to be any additional stuff on this version that I didn't see on the live feeds because of the fact that they cut so much stuff from the live feeds. And to be honest with you, 80 to 90% of the stuff that I saw in this episode was not a revelation. It was stuff that I have already seen. So I know they're making this big dramatic build up for tomorrow's episode in Eviction where they'll probably show some more. But overall, it's an hour episode, so I'm assuming that the majority of the stuff, the explosive house meeting and all this stuff, is going to be a super cut version, because there were so many discussions about this, whether it was Monty and Kyle, whether it was Terrence and Turner, whether it was Turner and Monty, whether it was Monty and Taylor. Like, these conversations were long too, very long. So there's no possible way they could fit all of that stuff into an hour. So really, CBS is doing us an injustice by giving us a very Spark Notesy version of the events that have happened this week. But anyways, on to my notes that I've taken. It started off with Turner somewhat making up a story that Joseph said that Brittany and Taylor pitched a Final Three alliance with him, and he said no. He excluded the part that Michael was a part of that because he wants Michael to go out in the back door. He had a conversation with Taylor. Taylor was all broken up and crying, like, why would Joseph do that? And Turner said he swears on his life and he swears to God that he's telling the truth when he said in the diary room that he was lying. So obviously that doesn't mean anything to him to say those things. Let's see. Taylor then admits to having a Final Four proposed with Michael, Brittany, and Joseph and her, which she didn't have to do that, but like I said, I don't really see her as too much of a big brother player. She's somebody who seems to be of high morals and values, and she seemed to care more about being lied on, potentially being lied on based on what Turner was saying, than she cared about the game at that moment. But I'm sure Turner was like, great, I didn't expect to get any of this information at all. She gave me some extra free information that I wasn't expecting. But he had gotten that version that Joseph gave him when they were at Dyer Fest, but it probably helped him that those two things lined up. Then it cuts to Turner and Michael having a conversation, and Turner told Michael basically, I'm sorry for putting your two friends up. And Michael's like, it's cool. Michael plays the game like really calculated, so he knew already why they were put up. He was sure that it was going to be a backdoor for him, but he's like, I'm just going to play it cool and play the game. So it cut to Kyle, and it showed Kyle saying, we are pretending to include Monty as part of our four. So they were basically trying to play him and have him as another number to tip the house. This 5 versus 2 thing that they kept talking about on the live feeds. Monty wasn't buying it. Monty is a lot smarter than I thought he was, man, because after the whole thing with Paloma, where he ran to Paloma and Paloma made up this whole lie, and he ran around the house like, I gotta get out Taylor, I was like, this guy's dumb and he's gonna be out soon. But it's like now he's in all these different conversations. He's talking to them as if he buys everything that they're saying, but he has his thoughts and opinions on those things, and he's intentionally playing the middle. He said it on the diary room. Like, this was his response to Dyer Fest, and knowing that the odds were now stacked against him. And he's playing the middle masterfully, if I might say so. Now, we get to the big moment, which is Michael and Brittany wanting to reveal the whole thing with Kyle, the conversations that they had with Kyle. So they basically said that they felt uncomfortable about it the whole time, but they were not sure. They were giving him the benefit of the doubt. But then it's weird because you talk about mixing game and personal. It seems like because of Kyle being against Michael in the game and not being trustworthy for him in the game, he now took away the benefit of the doubt. He said, I've been protecting him, which is a little bit weird, but that's what he said. I've been protecting him. So after Michael won the power of veto, he was like, him and Brittany, I think Michael was the one who proposed it. We need to go to Monty and Taylor and have a discussion with them. And if they are okay with us bringing this up to the rest of the house, then we will. And if not, then we won't. And I think at that moment, they were concerned about optics. That's the word that everyone talks about nowadays, optics. I think that they wanted that approval so that they wouldn't look bad for doing this. So this was I think a new part. I don't recall seeing this conversation. I think I might have seen cuts and pieces of it, but I didn't see this part of the conversation where they went to Monty and Taylor. They were talking to Monty and Taylor about everything that happened with Kyle. Wow. Monty was really emotional about that, and his response was, "This is America." Honestly, I really felt him when it comes to that, because in the show, Kyle was his boy. You know, Kyle and him were cool the whole time. Kyle and him were in multiple alliances together, and Monty actually seems kind of like a heart on his sleeve kind of guy. And I think he was really taken back by this information. Taylor was also equally as surprised. She appeared a little less emotional about it, but yeah, it panned to her in the diary room talking about how things are different for her as a black woman. And really, this conversation, I think, showed people that there's a lot of weight behind the things that Michael and Brittany were saying to them. And to be honest with you, I don't think that they fully realized that weight until they actually started speaking about it, especially to Monty and Taylor. So Monty and Taylor's response was basically to say, it's not up to us. You guys were the ones who had those conversations with him, and it's up to y'all to decide what you're going to do with it. So for them, they were like, okay, that's the vote of approval that we need, and now we are going to go talk to Turner. So they talk to Turner. They show the conversations with Monty and Terrence. Just a lot of the different things we already saw in the feed, the different conversations that were had. And then it shows Kyle in a moment of kind of desperation and panic going to Alyssa and being like, yo, Alyssa, let me know what happened, which is also from the live feeds. And she was basically like telling him what they alluded to, and he was like, oh my goodness, like this is bigger than game, this could ruin my life. And then he was denying it, and then it cut to the end of the episode where he was in the diary room saying, I have never made this a race thing, and it showed him crying, and then it was like, tune in to the dramatic conclusion, the dramatic house meeting, and blah blah blah, which again I think is going to be a super chopped up, super edited version of this, and I'm a little disappointed by that, but I'm also going to be glad when we are post Kyle being in the house, and then maybe we can start talking about Big Brother again. However, with that being said, as a black man, I must say that these kind of things really happen all the time. These kind of things happen in the real world. So the discussions that have been sparked since this stuff has started happening with the subconscious biases and the talks about racism and all that, like these are things that the show is kind of like a microcosm of the real world, and I think that that's what we are starting to realize. I'm not mad at these discussions happening. They need to happen, and the only thing that I'm upset about is that Big Brother is highly cutting us out of getting a raw, authentic view. But I'm glad that I have you guys and different pages that I follow, Twitter, that we can keep these discussions going and try to find some unity amongst us. So that's my recap, and thank you guys. I'm almost at 1,000 subscribers. I'm so excited about that. Thank you all, and I will talk to you soon.